Greetings, and welcome to earGROUND, your voices are amplified. Yes, it's a late night special edition. We just decided to chill, hang out, and talk and catch up on some of the things that have been happening over the past couple of weeks, months, days. The conversation just around Zimdance. We love Zimdance so much to the extent that we want to talk about it almost every day. But I think the reason why I joined by these two comrades is because they've been very vocal about it. And we thought maybe let's just do an impromptu one and do a conversation. So feel free to drop in your comments, to drop in your thoughts, as we're going to be talking about Zimdancehall to the world. And I'm joined in by Norman as well as Joe Machingura. They're going to introduce themselves in a bit. Just stay tuned. earGROUND, your voice amplified. Great is great. You can never underrate. From the voice of the voiceless, Ethan Bini. Comrades, welcome to earGROUND.
Correct. Bo, Murite.
No, I'm good. Today is not an interview, it's an interaction. So we're just going to be having it easy, chilled, and I hope you guys are ready. So maybe I'll start off with Norman there, just 30 seconds. Who are we talking to?
Okay. Well, my name is Norman. I'm sure I'm not very popular anyway, but I'm a researcher. I'm a very passionate individual. I'm in Zimbabwe. I love my music industry. My research interest in the fourth industrial revolution, specifically in the issue of marketing and also the development of our industry in general. So I've written on these issues in the past, and I've offered my comments on these issues through various media platforms.
Cool. Thanks a lot, comrade. And the elder in the building, Joe Machingura, Haitian Fish.
Do I really need to introduce myself? Anyway,
we know you. But anyway, I mean, for those that are watching for the first time, they want to know who's Joe. In a minute.
Okay, good evening, guys. My name is Joe Machingura. I wear many caps, man. I think the easiest way is an uncle when it comes to music. So basically, that's it. I'm very passionate about music. I love music. I am music. Whatever is music, I love it. So my comrades, yeah, ngati kurukure tunoti zvakamira.
Let's start. Daddy Tange. You belong to one camp, one opinion, because we've seen you getting up against the real Zimdancehall heads, pushing your opinion from urban groups. You're trying to assert that, look, Saga Zimdancehall appear. From a marketing and music business perspective, you're also saying, the life cycle is done. Where are we? What's happening? What's your perspective? Let's start to get the ball rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Jonathan.
Okay. Nomen taura tinzwe tuzobata pachiuno chapter.
Right. Inini, which language should I use? I'm faster with English and slightly slower, but which language? Okay, whatever language. Okay. All right. We are in a transition. That's the first thing that I want to put forward. We are in a transition. We are transitioning from the era of Zimdancehall. In other words, I'm trying to say we are done with Zimdancehall, but we are not yet done with it because there are still some small elements of it that are still existing, mainly because we also have what are known as laggards in the market. People who are slow to catch up or accept new things. So we cannot totally say it's gone, but there are still some elements of it. But we are transitioning towards a new chapter or a new genre or a new setup altogether. And I think in later missions, I will speak about where we are going. But this is basically the first argument that I want to make.
Great. Joe, transition.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Norman is saying. Really, Kuti, I can't use the name Kuti Zimdancehall is dead now, but when we say Zimdancehall is dead, we really mean it's not growing anymore. So when something is not growing, it means it's dying. You understand what I'm saying? Chinhu chikamira kukura zvachakuita chakufa. But I know a lot of people will like say no, it's not dying and all those things. But if we look at it, Zimdancehall from the way it has been growing until era Nigati from Wanawingidi going up, Anaseikalas, Anashinto, all that group of artists. Zimdancehall, we've been seeing it growing from leaps and bounds. You know what I mean? Hit after hits, Maridim, Chimaona, and all those things. But right now, if you look at it really, Ichiriku is still growing. Karaguti is stagnant. I still bring stagnant. Yapura pa stage stagnation. I see the stagnant anymore. It's actually on rolling down. That's how Zimdancehall is at the moment. You see, so it might still be there in a few years to come, but kunenge kwanewo unonzi musariridzwa. Kandowana zvakudependa kuti as an artist wakamira papi, who are you, what have you done, how deep is your foundation, how deep are your roots in that genre kuti urambe uchi exista. You know what I mean? Kuti urambe uchigadzira marecords ende vanhu varambe vachikuteerera, and for you to still be relevant.
Msariridzwa, which are some of the artists that you would consider as Msariridzwa, like the remaining, the last men standing?
You know what Plot is the thing with music ain't a shortcut. 1, 2. When you do music as an artist, are you an artist or you are a chancer? Kana uri munhu weya ungoti wakangowanawo chimwe chinhu chakangovhurika so ndobva wangojambirawo pachiri. You understand? Do you have the grit? Do you have the will and the power to stay in the game and fight for it? You understand? Were you a chance or wangopindawo here just because my studio avhurika akawanda and everyone else is just singing? But what I can tell you is the people who will still remain or who will be Musariridzwa yacho, these are artists who has got deep in the industry, who's got a big following. You know what I mean? What will continue pushing you is the people who listen to your music, right?
Let's throw in some names there. I mean, this will see
people like say colors, artists like Wana Freeman, artists like you know the OGs, all these big names. Kilati, he will be there.
Big man.
Yeah. Ndio vanhu vachasara nevanhu vavo. Why? Because vane following ihombe kudhara, and these are the vanhu vane, these are people who live, and these are the people who to shows and do all sort of things. You know what I mean? So these are the artists vachasara varipo. Everyone else who came later, this is the danger. This is what happened. Okay, rekanongoti gaga gaga because ndoda kurara. Rekatingoiti dambu dambu faster faster. This is what happened with Zimdancehall. Zimdancehall was killed, and people when we said Zimdancehall is dying or Zimdancehall is being killed, Kudara, people didn't listen, and people thought we hate on the genre, but we're hating on the genre. You understand what I'm saying? We
What,
sing it.
Joe, are you there?
Eh?
So I'm just gonna pause you for a second. Can you exit and come back because your video is just frozen? Okay, now we are good. Okay, cool. So you're talking about Kureo Zimdanzo. Diana Kauraya Zimdanzo. When, at what point would you say Zimdanzo Yakauraya Wanani? When?
All right. I'll be blunt. I'll be blunt on this. This is what happens in music, Plot. Kuchi. If you look at Eben Grooves, right? I always go to Eben Grooves. Where I can read to be who I am. That's where I got the name, right? There's been waves. Pakatanga, Pakapana, era yana Plaxides. After era Plaxides, when on a Plaxides, then there was Chamembe era. After the Chamembe era was going down, then another wave came up. But now, wave rakazonomara, pakashaika another wave which came through. That's when Zimdancehall was coming up. Zimdancehall was coming up, if you look at it, era now in the Wana Sniper Storm, Wana all those guys who were there before. And then Papazoya era na maybe Wana say colors, Wana Shin, so these guys, Wana Chibaba and all these guys. Jo area pusha yo. But my chakazo eti kan joku tima days a lockdown. Chakazo na paneme group zo sumuga so. Group rana Enzo. And it, of which I think for me.
That's before lockdown. That was before lockdown.
Yeah, it was before lockdown. Pane group rana Enzo rakasumuka. Vana Enzo ne vana team ravo vanonzi vana Pumako, vana Uncle Epperton, vafana vese vana Windsor, vana
Wasuri
Master,
vana Wasuri,
right? Vana Wasuri. As far as I'm concerned, that's when I realized kuti group iroro group rakauraya zvinhu iroro. The OGs, Vana Freeman and all these guys, Vana Sekalas, Vakomana vakavarairwa havana kubaida genre ravo zvakanaka. They didn't introduce these guys. They didn't teach these guys what to do, the pros and cons. They didn't train them well. They didn't groom them well. Vakasiya vafana vachingopinda because vanga vane access yemastudio. Vanga vakungoimba zvinonyadzisira. Music had no essence. Music had no value. Vaingoimba zvinonyadzisira. Ndainzwa nzanzi waswari waswari and everything. And ndipo panhu one pakafira Zimdancehall hip hop.
So in essence, you're saying group rana Bazooka, rana Pumako, rana Enzo, rana Uncle Epperton, rana Windsor, rana Ndunge Youth. Do pakafira mangu.
Do pakafira marecords hip hop. Because vafana vakaimba zvisina basa. And kuti ike zvino ufunge kuti who is going to to take over from vafana ivavo. Apana, because apana foundation. Vafana vese takaona people were on Nash Paints vachingokandwa ipapo vafana what they were singing zvinhu zvisina sense. Handiti vafana vengoti munhu angobvawo just because hawana access yestudio anongopinda mustudio ongoimba zvinhu zvaasingazive traditionally how music is done. Zvakarasika because they were looking for content. They were looking just to entertain people. They were looking for fame. People were just looking for a name. You understand? But so that's when everything lost track. Pakapinda Mandinga, pakapinda vakomana my channel, our YouTube, all these guys. That's when everything went wrong.
This is interesting because we're looking at a phase where I would think that's when Zimdance was evolving, evolution and matter. When we started getting the likes of an Enzo and a Bazooka and a Pumako, these guys were forced to record the new feel, new sound, new approach, which was slightly different from the traditional Zigubu. Was that not the evolution of Zimdance?
It was the evolution plot of Zimdancehall. But remember, Kuti, how did these kids come in? Enzo might survive, and a few other names might survive. You understand? A few other names. But if you look at it, the number of artists who came in during that time, vangani vanhu vatakaona even panana Nash Pines, vangani vanhu vapfana vatakaona panana Garamumba and all those things. Vapfana vaiva kuda kuti vaverenga pamwe vanosvika kana kuma100, 150 or 200. I don't know. I've lost count of the new music which we've seen being thrown on those channels. You see, but right now, let's go back for those kids. How many are still there, or how many can come up and say, "I am an artist"? You understand? And I will survive through music, or I've been groomed. I know what it means to be in the industry, what it means, what do I need to have the quality, what do I need to have in terms of the drive, what do I need to have in terms of vision. Was it an accident that I'm singing, or I just jumped in just because in the you understand? We've got just like colors. Those guys, they didn't find it easy. Tomboti will find it was younger Nguayacho. When I Killer T, they didn't find it easy. At one point, I turned to Killer T away from the studio because I felt like what he was singing wasn't making sense. You know what I mean? But he fought for it. He continued to push and grind until he did that. But these kids who are singing now, they are presented to a studio with the boys. We have studio. And time here, because people were hunting for content. Being as I chaga, content. And that's when the plot thickened, and that's when they lost the plot.
Wow, interesting there, Norman. And ndo pakapera sarungano. But it's also there's an argument. I was looking at one post from Havok earlier on, and big up just the Don Dada, Dylan East, Leroy the King, Prince, Ngoni Kelvin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Joe is talking about Pakafira Mangoma, but right now Zimdance still has the biggest following in the country, and is not a far stretch to actually say with Mangoma Adakwa because we still see them pulling crowds, getting booked the most.
Plot, I disagree with you when you say Zimdancehall is the biggest follower in the country. I think I'm on record as saying that it's not Zimdancehall that has got the biggest following in the country. It's Sungura. Firstly, because the highest figure, in fact, the largest portion of our population lives in rural areas, and those are people who follow Sungura so much to the extent that if you check in about 2 to 3 weeks' time, when Radio Zimbabwe and National FM give us their end of year charts, you will see that there are thousands and thousands of votes that do come through. So the real support in terms of we don't have a lot of hit songs. In actual fact, people can argue however they want. We don't have an avalanche of hit songs. So where you don't have that, then this is where you have got a bit of some Sungura, tracks also playing out. That's why you have Vanaditi. I think we had Makngwazi earlier on, because the country is looking for a sound. The country is looking for music. The country is looking for its identity. So we are in a transition, like I argued earlier on, and it is at this particular point that we need to rethink or reimagine the whole industry. How did it work in the past? How is it working in other countries? Like you see, if you look at South Africa, people want to talk about population. No, look at countries like Uganda. They've got very functional music industries and all that. Where are we getting it wrong as a country? I will give you, the whole problem maybe in my next submission, but we should acknowledge that we have a problem. The fact that we have got a genre that is going down is confirmation that we need to do something from a policy perspective, and also from I think a market or marketing perspective. We need to do something about it.
Yeah.
How we are going to do it, I will talk about it maybe in my next submission, because one of the problems is very clear in the industry. So I'll come back to that after Uncle comes in.
Wow, interesting there, because look, I'll read a couple of comments that are coming through there. You know, Delani says, "Vapera vese, vapera vese pagaramumba." But you spoke about the new sound there, and Prince Kelvin is asking which new genre. You guys are talking about a new sound. What's the new genre? What's the new sound?
Can I interject, Pablo? Can I interject there? New sound plot ichanetsa kuwana. You see why? Because whenever a new sound comes, to be effective, a new sound needs numbers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Norman, Joe, we've lost Joe there.
I think we lost Joe, right?
Yes, we've
okay.
lost Joe.
I think I'll take it up and try to expand on what he was trying to say. He was talking about numbers. I think it's convergence of those numbers. It's not only numbers. You can have numbers, but the number must converge. Get the you know, Macheso era or the Leonard Jack, the Simon Chimetu era. You had stable numbers that converge around the same thing, numbers that congregating around the same cause, congregating around the same sound. This is what I was trying to say, but I will allow him to continue.
Okay, I don't know what's happening with my network. I don't know. So what I'm saying is, numbers are very important in a genre, honor, because Zimdancehall is not just a genre; it's a culture. So you need numbers, people to buy into it, to see it, and you know what I'm saying. So now, the problem is right now, what sound is going to be created in Zimbabwe by who? Because it's not about one person. Not the way the industry is fragmented. There's no unity among producers. Because as a producer, you are the person who creates the sound. Then you are the same person who needs to put in artists. But you can't change a sound with one producer with one artist. You need a lot of artists, and you need at least 2, 3, 4 producer who will saturate the market with a certain sound, such that everyone else will hear the same sound and they'll buy into it. But you know, with the way the industry is, with the way Zimbabwean artists and the way producers are not united, it would be difficult for people to bring out a new sound at the moment. It's going to be hard. Kudara, because the market was market yanga iri hombe zvayo, but access yema studios yanga iri diki. No one accessed the studios, so it was easy to detect what people listen to, and obvious because of radio and TV, who were originally our traditional suppliers to all consumers. They detected what people would listen to on in Zimbabwe. I don't know. That's why it was always been propaganda on what we're going to play, what people have to listen to, and everything. Right now, for sound to be effective in Zimbabwe, it's going to be difficult, because atina nama numbers actually, and the culture right now is gone. Who, where, and how are we going to get the next wave of the new sound? As producers, as artists, this is the sound which we are going to push for the next 5, 6, 7, or 10 years. You understand? So right now we'll find different sound popping up. Only if producers who are in Zimbabwe right now and gatekeepers who are in Zimbabwe right now can unite and say, guys, this is what we are going to do. It's something which is very, it's possible. You know what I mean? They just need to come up with a sound. Possible with the same BPM. And everyone listens to it. Everyone trains with that music. Just the same way as how Amapiano has been happening. Amapiano is being pushed by producers. These are producers who came up with the sound and everything. You know what I mean? It didn't come up with the Munwemu Street. It didn't come up with my artists. So producers do anebasa rekuunza the new sound and create the new wave. If they don't do that, we might not have a sound in Zimbabwe. Because one person can't change the whole world. We need numbers for those things to happen. You need numbers. Eben Grooves had more than 50, 60 artists. Zimdancehall, Yana Colors. You can name any Yana Colors, Freeman, Shinzo Man, Winky D, everyone else. You know what I mean? It was all coming back to numbers. You need numbers to create a genre. You need numbers to create a wave. So we might not find that sound at the moment.
So are you saying the numbers are now divided because we've got new sounds that are coming through from outside? Amapiano is big, um, Afrobeat, Afro pop, Afrobeats in Zimbabwe are also bigger sound, and also now we see a shift from producers. I've been listening to a couple of new songs now. Um, Somebody actually said, I think it's General Oliver from Galilee Records, he says, now we have got Niger dancehall, artisanal
Yeah.
dancehall. That's what he said. You know,
Yes, because Plot, if you look at it right now, we don't have a leader in the music industry, like a producer who young producers look up to, someone who is leading the music industry in terms of production, someone who is inspiring the young kids to come through and say, inini ragadzira song sound inenge yalazi, because lazi ndiyakuteerwa nemunhu wese. You understand? If lazi achiteerwa nemunhu wese, lazi can be the pace setter of what is going to come out of Zimbabwe, and mfana munhu wese anotaka kuteedzera sound iyoyo, and everyone catches up because lazi ndiye ari kuleader. But we don't have that at the moment. Munhu wese akungoita yakuita. Munhu arikugadzira sound yake anoti inini ndeyangu, inini distinct, indoimba reggae, handiti lazi ari kuimba reggae rake. Tamuka ari kugadzirawo manager ake uko maafrobeats ake, nditamuka ari kuita zvaari kuita, unless and until vapfana variko ike zvino who want that same space yakaoccupiwa the main producers, vana Fantana, vana Lazi, vana Tamuka, and all those things, until we find a group of young kids who will come and say, guys, let's unite. 4 or 5 producers, guys, let's unite. Let's make a certain sound.
So Joe there is talking about unity. Yeah.
I agree with Joe, definitely 100%. But Joe is focusing on one part of the problem. The problem that we have is comes from the term marketing. Remember when we used to have RTP, Grammar Records, and so on and so forth. Those were record companies which were involved in the recording, production. You remember marketing, and then they would also distribute the artistic works. So when Uncle Joe is speaking there, he's speaking whilst displaying or exhibiting concern over a part of marketing which is called the product. He's more worried about the product because the product is not sounding the same. The product is not coming out in such a way that the market is able to accept it. That there's no unit around the product. But one of the biggest issues, like I alluded to earlier on, Comrade Plot, is that we have a problem of distribution or a problem of place. I think youngsters who are doing marketing will tell you that you have got 4 P's of marketing. So it's a very key P that's often neglected. The problem of distribution. And are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm listening.
So when we went digital, like with coming in of these convergence of digital technologies and so forth, we lost it in terms of distribution. We used to see distribution of cassettes and CDs. Right now, things have gone digital. To think of digital ways of distributing music, but are digital or the existing digital channels capable of dealing with our Zimbabwean problem as a people? Are Zimbabwean artists capable of making use of those channels? Because at the end of the day, you need to the market. The market must fund the industry. It must sustain the industry. You should have a market that buys the product, right? So that artists can buy houses so that artists can be able to produce products, new videos, can collaborate with others in the region, in Africa, and the world, just like what Nigeria is doing. It's simply because we have a problem of the distribution channels or the distribution of our music. And it's mainly because the models that are in Zimbabwe now, I think not coming from Germany, you would tell me that the internet coverage or the internet penetration rate in that you're in right now is far much higher than what we have in Zimbabwe. I think reports say that we are about at about 83%. I'm so sure about that figure, but we still have low inflation. Yet much of the artistic works, much of the music is now being consumed online, digital, right? So singles that are working like Spotify and so on and so forth, that are working in advanced developed countries, they cannot work in our setup because of problems of connectivity in the country. So we need to rethink the market, to rethink the strategy. It's not only about making the good product. Yes, we can make it, but still artists are not out there. There is COVID-19 regulations and there are still restrictions. These restrictions are still with us. We're going to be here for probably the next 2 or so years. We don't know. There is not going to be much in terms of live performances. And among my live performances, but so even if they say Tavura, show. So we need to think of those people who are outside the country and are willing to consume the music or products that we are making in Zimbabwe. How do we distribute music to the UK? You understand? Picture, right now, who is doing that? It's not happening. And right, fashion, what video, culture, but right now we cannot do that because the market is not sustaining the industry. And as long as this continues, we are in for a very big disaster.
So the challenge is not necessarily the artists, it's the economy, it's the situation in the country. There's no money circulating. There's no disposable money to buy the music.
No, the money is there. The money is there. Let me put it in a very simple way. The problem in Zimbabwe, I'm not a believer of the economy, politics, and stuff, because there are certain countries that are defying that. The challenge we have in the country has got to do with a component of our marketing code, the place, that is the distribution of artistic works. If people are to be honest with me right now, if you're holding an Android device, if you check the music that you're playing in your Android device, did you buy that music? You understand? Did you buy that music? So if you did not buy that music was produced. Someone had to sweat for it. So as long as we have a market that is not paying for the products that are coming out of the production houses, which are our studios and the work that our artists are putting out there, we have a fundamental problem of distribution, and we need to correct that. We need to be able to distribute music legally in such a way that artists are able to get something out of their work.
Is it not connected to the consumption culture that people are not accustomed to buy music now, and they cannot actually afford to buy that music, even if it's available on the official markets?
I thought about that, but the people who are able to change that culture are the people who are selling the music, like the artists. We see a lot of them playing
artists on the internet. Music for free.
Yeah, they're distributing music for free. They're not encouraging their followers to buy music legally. And my argument as a Zimbabwean here on the 11th of on the 12th, on the 11th of December, 2021 here is that as a country, we need to rethink our priorities. We need to realign our priorities. The artists who are going on Facebook and stuff are not telling their followers to buy music legally. Yes, we have an YouTube and stuff, but I can show you that I can take music from YouTube right now and play it without paying, without even watching it. You understand? So it doesn't work. These are models that work for countries that are advanced, developed, where people can stream, can do this and that. But do we have that in Zimbabwe? When someone is complaining over a WhatsApp voice note, Like if you put a WhatsApp voice note to your colleagues who are in Zimbabwe, they complain. So in other words, we do have a problem, and we need to have a culture of consumption that's legal in such a way that artists are able to get something, a homegrown solution that's going to sort that out. And I'm sure I will
Um,
leave that one to
Ash,
people.
Ashley says, ZW says, before we go to distribution, let's gather quality first. The market ain't appreciating one. And go pin studio, wotanga kubiga mbinga. For me, this speaks to why we have South African artists coming through to Zimbabwe, performing for the very same audience that we're saying is not having disposable income. They are ready to pay $20 to watch an artist who's coming from South Africa because they're delivering on stage, they're giving quality content, you know. And Jazz the Don Dada says the money may be there, but appreciation is not there. We do not buy. Joe.
I oh, you're coming to Joe. Okay,
Okay, Joe is frozen. You can go ahead.
it's frozen. Comrades, where are the 2 million, 3 million views coming from? Who is watching our music online? If we have people watching, 1 million people watching our music online on YouTube, that's quite a large number. And if these people, I'm not talking about a million, let me take everything away and go for 100,000 of those 1 million who are watching a video and say, guys, I'm selling my music for 0.7 dollars. That is 70 cents. That's 70,000 United States dollars. And you know how much it is within our context. You know what that kind of money can do. So my argument is that let's not worry about those millions. They are fake. Because you can have those millions, but still poor. We want real people who can support artists. I think if you check out how Mark G's podcast and Chill is growing, you can actually see that we can learn from South Africa. You can have very few people who are willing to support you. If you check out the support that Killer T is getting out there, Say Colors is getting out there, Freeman is getting out there. It's real support, it's organic support, it's tangible support. That's the kind of support that we want to sustain the industry. Yes, we can worry about quality, but remember, takamboridzirwa zvigubhu zvekutoti kana paradio, I think there are stories where radio used to reject some of the songs, but they got their way onto the market. So let's worry about the sustainability of this. Let's worry about the ghetto youth who is, instead of going to the industries, kunotsvaga basa or whatever, is trying to go into the studio to produce something. It should pay. That is my argument.
Wow, this is quite interesting. Dylan says they are distributing music for free because if they sells music akutorera music, and it's quite interesting because the model to distribute music for free via WhatsApp and other free download platforms was justified by the fact that people were looking for shows. Now I'm looking at COVID right now. We are like in our fourth, fifth wave, and there's the potential for us to actually go into another lockdown. And already, even under the current circumstances, we are really constrained. We are limited in terms of the capacity to actually do events and actually monetize from those events. So there are fewer promoters. A lot of promoters have had to leave events that are happening. I was actually seeing a poster today saying I'm a piano festival that is happening this coming weekend or next week, and I realized that there is a bigger shift, especially north of Samora. A lot of the gigs that are happening there, you now start to see much of the sound that is dominant there. Is Amapiano, is Afrobeat. I attended one joint the other time when I was in Zim just a month and a half ago. And I had a friend from South Africa who said, look, I'm actually I was hoping that you take me to a Zimbabwean joint. I was like, yeah, it's a Zimbabwean joint. Oh, I thought it's South African owned. I said, why? He says, because all the music that I'm hearing is South African, you know, and our space is becoming more and more limited. But I still look at a genre that is 24 hours a week dedicated on prime time on radio to one specific genre. Zimdancehall has got 3 hours by 2 on ZFM, 3 hours by 2 on Star FM, and it has got a Power FM 3 hours by 2. And if you look at all of that, it's more than 24 hours of non-stop Zim dancehall play. But still, it's not going anywhere. The rhythms are dropping. One dropped last week, another one dropped. Rhythms are dropping like almost every week, but these rhythms are not going anywhere, including a rhythm that has more than 50 songs of some of the big guns within the industry, within the genre. They are not going anywhere. I've been checking on the streets and people are saying we don't even hear this music anymore, which was different. But some say because the combis are not there. But I'm like, look, yes, combis did play a part. We can't take away the combis, but when the combis were playing a part, we didn't have much of internet. So obviously, internet is augmenting that space. So I don't know what to think. Lazitise is hakuna anotenga vanhu havana kana mari.
Yeah, but lazi ari kuti vanhu havana mari ndevapi vanhu vari kutaura ivavo? Because if you go out there, the economy of Zimbabwe is being sustained by people in the diaspora. Here in the diaspora, some of us we are speaking from outside. People can afford. I'm not talking about the 5 million that are watching your videos on YouTube. No, I'm worried about the 100,000 out of those 5 million who believe in your art.
Even
Those
5,000 people.
Yes, let's not worry about those bigger numbers. We're not yet there. Let's worry about making sure that the few that we have are buying, be it Apple or any other platform. But let's also think the youngsters who are developing applications should think of developing platforms that actually allow for the sale and distribution of our music legally. It could be, yes, because we've got problems with our economy and we still have challenges. But there are Zimbabweans, millions of Zimbabweans who are outside the country, based in countries that can allow them to buy music legally. Let's think of that market. It can sustain our industry in a very small way, but it can be very revolutionary in terms of making sure that it sustains the industry. Lazi, the producer, he also wants to be paid for the work, but artist he will complain, he will worry about everything. Yet he wants to look after himself and the family. So we want an industry that sustains itself. We don't have to wait for the government or any other person. Let us push for it. Let the artists who are the key beneficiaries of this push for it and say, guys, tengai music yangu kwete kuti endai munodownloada pomahara wazazvibatsire. It doesn't help you. Unongoita mbiri but it's not cheap.
Joe, thanks a lot, man. Deep. Joe, are the artists hungry? Are the artists actually seeing the ticking time? Do they see the writings on the wall? Do you think that they are late or they're still in denial? Because for me, as an outsider looking in, I'm actually seeing that we are not in a good space. Especially for a genre that had created employment and opportunities for so many people, not just the artists, the people that were providing food, people that were doing venues, people that were providing sound systems and a whole lot of things, right? And there's a threat to all of these people's employment. Do the artists see what's coming?
The threat is there, but sometimes people they don't want to see reality. Everyone at one point will die, but muna anovhuma here kuti ndichafa because anofunga maybe zvinongoitika next door. You understand what I'm saying? But in reality, we have seen artists going down. We have seen some artists just sinking, just like that. The names are gone. I don't want to mention the names of artists who has just gone down, who at one point were making a lot of noise and things like that. But isusu in any way, why I say things really is because what Ziwa I was in the industry for 15, 20 years, like in the mainstream industry, deep. You understand? And I know what it takes for one to come up. I know this and everything.
Sorry to interject. Maita Mari say, uncle.
Money. Then obviously we're making money more on shows. You know what I mean? And obvious sales. We're selling music. Remember we had Vana Metro and Grammar distributing music, and we're selling CDs from the boot of the car. Oh, we're doing that. My network is playing out, guys. So at the end of the day, my artists, they need to understand with me. Things are not the same. And they need to accept the changes and adopt. Otherwise, it's a rhino number. That's the truth.
This is my point. I know Norman has spoken about the market, and Joe, you've been talking about the need to evolve. But me, I'm agreeing with Astley. He says, no, quality is the problem. I'm having problems in convincing my folks here in the diaspora that our dancehall is good. But we do have, a few that are very good, the likes of Ganja Tricks, but nobody pays attention, right? Which is said, nobody sees anything good. And this is quite interesting. I mean, we've seen the quality that Nati always produced this year. And I think that is sort of a defining moment for Zimdancehall in Zimbabwe. I don't know whether to call Nati or a Zimdancehall artist or not, which I think is very subjective because I would personally say that he is no longer fitting that
No, he's
bracket.
no longer
Yes,
there.
No,
He's gone past.
Nati was no longer Zimdancehall.
he's not there.
No,
He's not.
he has gone past that. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, when I look at him, actually, he was never Zimdancehall because they never accepted him. Same as Pananonzi, Anzan, UK guys know you, and confused. Confused to
Yeah.
me is one artist who has always been sidelined and they never allowed him to get into their space because of the sound and everything. He was always an outcast. And if you look at it, he's one kid who's
They were confused by him.
yes, because he's got his own market and his own niche of a market. And so he has managed to create his own market. He's not affected, he's not in that bracket.
So this is interesting. You are saying that Nati O was never Zimdancehall. They never really accepted you. Right in front of Patwa Alumi. Now the claim is because I saw somebody saying, look, the biggest song, the biggest album this year is Zimdancehall. And when you're saying this, it means that the biggest song and the biggest album this year is not Zimdancehall.
It's not Zimdancehall. That's the truth. It's not Zimdancehall. It's not Zimdancehall. That's a fact. Not all is not Zimdancehall. Not all possibly was never Zimdancehall. He was trying to get in there, but they never accepted him as and all these things. He was never. So that now tells you exactly where the sound is going, or that the sound is revolving. We are not in that comfort zone. The boys miles. It has changed. But like I said, there are certain artists who will survive. There are certain artists who will survive because of the following which they have created, because of how big their following is. Numbers will come into play.
This is quite interesting. But before we round off, what are your parting shots? As the T is asking, like, what is Zimdancehall? He just dropped a question there. I don't know if anyone wants to.
If you look at it, Zimdancehall has always been a culture. It's been a culture. Zimdancehall has been the sound. But akusina culture yoyo, vano akusina zvidakwa, apana anodakwa, apana anoita magigi, a sports center, we might never see it again. You understand? That's where Zimdancehall. Yes.
So it's beyond the rhythms, it's beyond the music.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
And, you're saying it's beyond the music. It's more than the music. It was the culture.
Yes.
Was a lot of elements.
Exactly. It's got it's not about the beat. If people think it's about the beat, it's about the culture. It's about the way of survival. It's about the way of living. Kuti vanhu vaitichi vakaenda kumangoma chichaitika ikoko ende kuti artist anzi ndiwe mangoma chichaitika ikoko. It's all. It's never about the sound. And
so are you trying to say akusisina Zimdancehall? Dylan East is asking.
I will answer that question earlier on. I think you are not watching when you started. Or
yeah, I think you may missed. Yeah, if you could bring that up again. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't sort of argue here that we don't have Zimdancehall like completely is wiped off. No, music genres don't disappear just like that. We are in a transition. It's coming off. Like imota iri kubva mavhiri 1 zvichienda saka kunozongosarawo rinenge rangosimbawo rinenge rine locknut kunozongorambirawo kuvawo. Those are just a few artists. I think Uncle spoke about it earlier on. But I think beyond disagreeing or exchanging on all the issues or whether we still have Zimdancehall or not, I think the country should begin to think of developing its own sound. Some things can be identified with us as Zimbabweans to say, chikangotanga ngorira totoziva kuti ichi chichedu.
And there's a question
Then
whilst
we
you are
push.
There's a question from Ruben Yuda. He says, why discuss kupera kwezimdanso pasati pane genre yacho ichaita take over. Amapiano was given time yekukura and musicians switched to amapiano zvisina kuuraya rimwe genre.
It was a transition. It was a transition. Amapiano came in not yesterday. Amapiano came in when we were home, and I think there are youngsters from Durban who had an album, I think, which was titled Computer, but where is Tom? So it came in slowly. That music penetrates, even Zimdancehall slowly. I think you'd say Deflex, Freeman is Jonas, were some of the key turning points or points of inflection as far as the entrance of the genre or the culture is concerned. So it doesn't come in, it's not abrupt. It's not just something that comes in and say, but no, it's slow. So as we are waiting, or the market is waiting for a sound or anything that's new, we also don't know. We need to be very careful again about how it's going to sustain the artists, the young ones who are going to be doing this. Is it just for them to sing that they become popular and then when they turn 20, 25, they start their families, they see that they leave? We don't want such an industry. We want an industry that creates more legends. We had people like Vanatu stuff for each other. And an industry that's going to be a huge mark, and it can only happen if it's sustainable. It's never an industry that is going to be supported. I see people were saying the government must do this. No, the government, yes, must facilitate, must create an environment. Yes, it must that kind of an environment where people can operate. But remember, music is business. If music is business, you need to make sure that players operate in a profitable, sustainable way. We can never have an industry that's going to support it or hinge on government support alone. We need an industry that's able or capable of paying those who are involved in it. Producers, artists, distributors, young ones who are coming out of school, must be able to build music. Developers developing applications that actually take music to our people, approaching the corporate sector as well to say, guys, this is what we have. We've got music, and we would want you to also be part of the culture and also advocate, because we are holding the market, we have the market, so you're also offering them the corporate sector, not them being culture, that we are seeing getting out in recent times.
Wow, great. But before you go, what's your take? I mean, because I see there's a section in Zimbabwe that feels the continuous talk about Zimdancehall and fading and estate and stuff is hinged on actually an underlying desire to see Zimdancehall collapse. And these conversations are not necessary because they perpetuate a narrative that says Zimdancehall is gone and ultimately fulfill that underlying desire in courts.
Sadly, we are a market that's not ready for the truth. I don't think, and I've always argued that we can never be sure or truthful about where we are going if we are not truthful about where we are as a country and as a people. If something is falling, if there is a problem, we need to acknowledge that we have a problem and start solving it from there. There must be hunger and on the part of youngsters, new artists, to create something new. They must do challenge. I mean, if people think that Ichi Zimdancehall actually like it was in the past, typically my hit song, let the kids who are 5 years old, like what Ango Joe at some point, play or sing your music in the streets. Let those who are 5, 7 years old, primary school, sing your music. That's when you get to see, no, we need to have that conversation so that we lay the foundation for what's coming in the future. And the future is definitely coming up, and we cannot avoid that. It's unavoidable.
Wow, this has been interesting. You know what? We're having this conversation for the benefit of others. I hope that some will find something useful there. It's good that we have got producers, we've got managers, we've got people that are also working within the industry, artists that have been joining the conversation there. Baba Matipa Dillon Jr., thank you so much. Lord, you need with a series of this conversation. This conversation is necessary. I don't think we'll be able to export something we imported unless we perfect it now. Which is a very, very interesting point. Wow, thank you so much, Norman. I really, really appreciate we lost Joe there, but I think this was a very enlightening conversation. I really feel enlightened, and I hope those that will get a chance to watch it will pick the profound wisdom that has been shared there. And if there's anything that doesn't agree or that doesn't really align with their truths, they can always leave it on the side. But I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, comrade. Anytime. Thank you so much. I appreciate the platform.
Great. So you're most welcome. My name is Plot Mhako. It's been earGROUND, New Voices Amplified. We've been streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and the conversation has been just the state of Zimdancehall. We love Zimdancehall, so this is why we keep talking about it. And until next time, my name is Plot Mhako.